We are starting off once again. Welcome back to the Elephant in the Room. I know everybody just had their old July 4th weekend. Everybody was just celebrating. I saw a lot of happy 4th of July posts, a lot of happy Independence Day. Let's celebrate our freedom and the likes. And that was honestly what inspired me to make this content. I was actually trying to make something like this for a while, but with it being July 4th just passing, I figured no time like the present, especially now. So, what this one is about, what this is going to be about, I'm going to be going over once again a few definitions to make us all go out on the same page. But primarily, this is going to be about America's independence, how the District of Columbia was formed, what America is, what makes America the country, and what makes us the citizens that we are, and so on. And I'm going to be going over some of the history and some of the laws, just like how I've been doing in the past, and we're all going to learn, you know? So, yeah. So, with some water. You guys already know the drill. Before we get into all the tea, we want you guys to make sure show your support, like, subscribe, share the content. This is how the elephant in the room gets known. Share that truth, because the truth is all. Because the truth is all of our identities. We have to be about it. We all have to be about it. Okay, so let's get on that. So let us get into it. So diving in, I wanted to start off with a few definitions to go over, because I wanted everybody to understand where some of the terms that we use so loosely, especially in the terms of republic and democracy and being a Democrat and being a Republican, I want to go over some of the origins. I guess the etymology. I guess I don't know if that would apply to this. Yeah, I guess so. But I just want to go over some of the beginnings of where these words come from and what we should be really talking about, and why I truly believe that every single person in America should identify as a Republican. Regardless of how you might feel about who the Republicans are now and who the Democrats are now, and who the independents are, and so on. The idea and the whole point of being a Republican is very clear coming from these definitions. So now, a republic is best explained by first explaining a democracy. In a pure democracy, the people argue among themselves. The argument is resolved by voting. 51 beats 49. Whatever the majority says is imposed upon the minority. The minority has no rights. The majority doesn't need rights. The majority doesn't need rights. In other words, the sovereignty is placed in the group. It is the group that is not accountable to higher authority. The members of the group are the citizens, and they must obey the dictates of the group. In the long run, a democracy becomes a dictatorship of the majority, which is literally what we're seeing right now, because we are having a dictatorship of the majority, which are the elites, which are the wealthy elites, the politicians, the people who the trust fund, all of those people are having a pure advantage by just controlling the majority, which is the democratic process right now, and that needs to change. All right, this is why we're having a lot of the issues and a lot of the protests and everything right now. We're seeing all of that, so that needs to change. So moving on, except for the 2 points, a republic is identical in all aspects to a democracy. In a republic, the people argue among themselves, just as is done in a democracy. The argument is resolved by voting. However, because each individual people, all right, is sovereign, the decision of the majority can only be advice to the individual. The logic is simple. If the group can impose its will upon the individual would no longer be sovereign. Once again, if the group can impose its will upon the individual would no longer be sovereign. And you would no longer have a republic. It would be converted into a democracy. At best, the group is limited to advising the individual. If a group is unreasonable, the individual sovereign is free to ignore the advice. In the long run, a republic ensures the freedom of the individual. All right? Now, freedom is what America is based upon. And this is what the four founders wanted for all of us. You know, they were very oppressed under British monarch rule, and they didn't like it. They wanted to own their own land. They didn't want to pay all those taxes. They wanted to be free people. All right. This is why they left. You know, this is why when they left, they had the Revolutionary War. And there was a lot of people that were not on the side of leaving Britain. There was a lot, but they still had the war, they still fought, and they still left it. All right. Now, when it comes to who really came out on top, when it comes to the deals and the Treaty of Paris and about like what was really going on with that, you know, people are going to say that like all over the internet it says that America got the better at end of the deal, but you know, what land did the British Empire keep? You know, what land were they allowed to keep? They gave some back to America, but they also kept some. All right? Which states are not called states? Which states are called commonwealths? Which states are called commonwealths? And what land is DC on? We're going to find out all of that. All right, so moving on. The other feature of a republic is that the individual may act directly or he can delegate a task to his representatives. In a republic, this is why you can use the government courts or you can create your own court. You can create your own court. You can do whatever you want to do because you're free in the republic. Now, before anybody goes and says, well, that just causes for lawlessness and everybody can just do whatever they want to, and technically they could just murder, they can rape, they can pillage, they can marry the children, all of the above. Well, let me tell you, we are not that far from that right now. Some of you guys may turn a blind eye to that, but I am quite aware of these things, especially when it comes to Pizzagate. Okay? But so before anybody talks about, well, that would just create lawlessness. No, that would not create lawlessness because there are things called a constitutional republic, which is literally what our Constitution was based on and how our Constitution was founded and what the Constitution was literally supposed to be about, which is why the four founders had the Magna Carta as well as the Bill of Rights and the Declaration of Independence as a foundational basis, you know, for the Constitution, you know. So we really need to pay attention to that. So many people are talking about how we need to sorry, I made a mistake. It's right here in front of me. So this is why the Constitution is based on the Bible, the Magna Carta, and the Declaration of Independence. This is why those three are based on the people and the individual being free and not answering to anybody else but the Lord. You know, regardless of how you may feel about the Bible, you know, this is what they based it on. And if you want to study the Bible, you'll understand how we were supposed to be treated and how we were supposed to live here in America. All right. So looking at what a constitutional republic is, a constitutional republic is a state where the officials are elected as representatives of the people. Representatives of the people, they're elected to be representatives, all right? And must govern according to the existing constitutional law that limits the government's power over citizens. A constitutional republic is the current form of government in the United States, which the... Okay, a constitutional republic is a current form of government in the United States. We already saw what a republic is. So we already know that that's not 100, but let's move on. Which the founding fathers did not intend to be a democracy. However, in recent years, many people have criticized the federal government for moving away from a constitutional republic as defined by the Constitution and towards a pure democracy, which is why we are fighting today. This is why so many riots and so many issues are going on, because we are noticing that they are not following the rules and they are not respecting us. They're not respecting our rights. And in fact, we're going to go over how DC was formed, and the way DC was formed, the District of Columbia, was formed was formed fraudulently, technically, and unlawfully and illegally. But over time, it all became legally due to our ignorance, due to our willful ignorance, either by stupidity or by just not understanding what's going on or not wanting to be involved with what's going on. You know, there was a problem. So so there's something called implied consent, and I'm gonna go over that. I'm gonna probably say that quite a few times while we go over this, but it's called implied consent. And implied consent literally means that if you don't say anything when somebody does you wrong, it means that you say yes and you agree to it. And this is how a lot of laws actually get passed, because so many things actually get put in front of the president or the governor or whoever, and they have to sign so many things that if it's as if like a certain amount of time passes and they don't send it back, then it's technically counted as approved. Implied consent. If you're walking down the street with a cup of coffee and you're drinking it, and somebody comes and takes that coffee from you, and you're just like, and you don't say anything, and you just walk on their business, and they just keep drinking that coffee, somebody across the street's gonna be like, oh wow, like that was weird, but I mean, I guess that's their coffee now. But if you fighting that person and you're like, no fool, you better get your own coffee. You better get your own fool. You better get your own coffee. Let me stop. But like if you like somebody's gonna tell you better stop, that is not consent. I do not consent. That's the difference. All right. So we need to tell the government and everybody else that I do not consent to all of this foolishness, this tomfoolery that you're trying to bring about. You know, because I want a republic and I want to be a free person because I'm a free person, and that is what they wanted us to be. A constitutional republic is the current form of government in the United States. All right, we already went that. Let's skip ahead a little bit. Team law defines a constitutional republic as follows. A republic, by definition, has two principal elements. First, it is controlled by law. It is controlled by law. Therefore, it does not control law. Second, it recognizes the private, independent, sovereign nature of each person, man or woman, of competent age, whatever, but they belong to their parent. I believe everybody has a right, regardless of how old they are, you know, but this is why we grow, this is why we level up, because we think about these things, but the basis is what we're talking about right now. And right now it says, independent nature of each person, man or woman of competent age and capacity. Therefore, a republic must be a representative in its nature. A republic is a representative, and if people don't stand up for themselves, they can elect a representative, and by nature, the republic will stand up for them, and by nature, the republic means that we are all free. All right, and we're going to go over why this is so important. A republic recognizes law. A republic recognizes law is unchangeable, or at least that it can only be changed by a higher source than government. In a republic, the concept of collective sovereignty cannot exist, except with recognition that the state or nation, as a body of sovereigns, can speak through one elected voice. A body of sovereigns because the people together are making up the state, and together those people are making up a body of states, which are a body of sovereigns that are going to that can speak through one elected voice, which is a representative that you would elect. All right, constitutional republic would allow you to do so, though that one voice can never lawfully interfere with the private rights of the individual citizens and of the individual sovereigns. All right, a constitutional republic is a government created and controlled at least by the law of a constitution. The law of a constitution. The Constitution of the United States of America was, in law, a foundation based on the Bible, the Magna Carta, and the Declaration of Independence. Those documents recognize man's sovereignty, the divine nature of man's creation, and a man's divine right to life, liberty, the means of acquiring and possessing property, and the pursuit of happiness. All right. Now, we just read all of that. Now, when you read all of this, you have to remember that once again, it was based on the Bible, and the Bible means that you guys need to be of clean, pure, righteous heart. All right. So all of these things were made in the hopes that we would all be good people. that we would all be honest, righteous people looking out for each other, and we would all and we would all respect each other's sovereign rights to just be. All right, they didn't think that anybody was going to take advantage and be so easily bribed by money and just things, because we've been living in unlawful ways, especially in regards to the government, for so long that, like, there's a lot of people that are being corrupted time after time after time after time, and we need to really do something about it. All right. And so when you talk about this constitutional republic, this is why the Constitution was created. And when you are a person that is going around and being unlawful and disrespecting other people's sovereign rights, then something will happen to you. All right. The group will address that. The group will address that. And this is how the police force and stuff like that were brought about. Because over time we understood that there needed to be a law that actually started to enforce some of these things, because people started to get unruly and unlawful, and they started to get just plain and simple greedy. And this is why just things have just gone, but I don't want to get distracted on all of that. I want to continue. All right, so now that we've gone over what a republic is, what a democracy is, what a constitutional republic, and what we were really supposed to be based on, I want you guys to also go look into the Constitution, look into these rights, because we have forgotten a lot and we need to bring it back. We really need to bring it back. All right. We can't let the TV and the news and the media and all of these other people decide for us the things that we need to know and understand for ourselves. Because how on earth are we supposed to teach our children? How on earth are we supposed to defend ourselves when it comes down to it? You won't be able to. All right. So let's take a look at the next part.